This Chief Justice Roberts guy, he's conservative on paper, and he knows how to use the rhetoric, but it feels like manipulation to me. So this dude comes out the other day going after Trump again, and I want you to listen here to his argument on judicial independence and see if you notice the gap in his logic.
The only real political science innovation in our Constitution, I mean, you know, parliaments have been around for 800 years, and obviously executives, is the establishment of an independent judiciary. Even places you think are similar to ours, like England, the judiciary in England was part of Parliament. I mean, they sat in the House of Lords, and because Parliament was supreme. But in our Constitution, judges and the judiciary is a co-equal branch of government, separate from the others, with the authority to interpret the Constitution as law and strike down, obviously, acts of Congress or acts of the president. And that innovation doesn't work if it's not, the judiciary is not independent. Its job is to obviously decide cases, but in the course of that, check the excesses of Congress or the executive, and that does require a degree of independence.
What do you think of these calls for impeachment of judges based on the decisions that they've made?
Well, I've already spoken to that, and you know, impeachment is not how you register disagreement with decisions.
That's what you're for, right? That's what you're there for.
That's what we're there for. Yeah.
Congresswoman, do you take that as a veiled message for the president?
I think it's a pretty clear message, and it's rare for the Supreme Court justice to do this, for the Chief Justice to do this.
Yeah, not to mention I'm pretty sure the Founding Fathers would disagree with him. So he was more than happy to talk about the judiciary checking the legislative branch and the executive branch. And King went in talking about judicial independence. I mean, the guy loved talking about that part. Mr. Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts of the Supreme Court, the highest judge in the country. Who's supposed to check the judiciary, brother man? And this guy's supposed to be a member of the Federalist Society. He seems to define an independent co-equal judiciary as having a complete lack of any accountability or oversight to any of the other two branches of government. And if any of you guys out there have seen our other two videos in the series here, you know exactly why that's not how the Founding Fathers intended the checks and balances system to work. But if you don't feel like going through all that, here's the Cliff Notes version. So basically, long story short, just like how an unchecked executive can turn into a monarchy, or unchecked legislature can become mob rule, an unchecked judiciary risks the same exact power grab. And that's not what the Founding Fathers had in mind. What they wanted was a Mexican standoff. Every branch of government checking the other one equally. All three of them. In fact, this guy's entire perspective here sounds more like what the Founding Fathers were warning us against than what they actually intended. See, the Founding Fathers themselves actually predicted someone like Roberts here and warned us about him from the jump. The internet loves to paint Federalist number 78 as a love letter to an all-powerful judiciary, but that's not what Hamilton was saying. Yes, he defended judicial independence, but it was really about why the judicial independence is safe due to the limitations imposed on the judiciary jurisdictionally. The Founding Fathers were actually very concerned about rule by judiciary and warned us against activist judges in an unchecked judiciary. So yeah, Chief Justice Roberts' entire way of framing an independent judiciary doesn't seem in line with what the Founding Fathers had in mind at all. If anything, I think James Madison himself would be helping Stephen Miller and the Trump team try to fix this mess. And what's crazier, this isn't even the first time that Roberts has come out against Trump. He did the same thing a month ago.
Tonight, the Supreme Court's Chief Justice John Roberts with a rare and extraordinary rebuke of President Trump. Judge James Boasberg said the administration had not provided enough information to explain why it was invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. On Truth Social, the president attacking Judge Boasberg as a troublemaker and agitator, saying, quote, "This judge, like many of the crooked judges I'm forced to appear before, should be impeached." Just hours later, Chief Justice Roberts releasing this statement, stating, quote, "For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose."
See, the thing is he makes these comments and he's willing to die on this hill when he knows for a fact Nobody wants to impeach Boasberg because of Boasberg's decision in the courtroom. It's because of how the decision in the courtroom is reflective of the bias and his inability to excuse his bias and look at the law as it sits. And the way that his TROs were struck down by the Supreme Court is a perfect example. And when you pair that with the context of the money that he's given to organizations outside of the court and his family's bias and how his family's ideologically aligned with organizations they're involved in, all immigration activism, it paints a picture of an activist judge, exactly what we were warned of by Madison. Now, here's what's frustrating about this entire thing. Look at me real quick, all right? Look at me. Now, look at Roberts over here, all right? This guy is so far better educated than I am on all of this crap. This guy knows better, and he knew better from the jump. And for him to be playing these games with these framing devices and then doubling down on protecting these activist judges, he's essentially declaring war on the Trump agenda right now. Let me know if that's what it looks to you guys. Does it look to you guys like he's trying to signal his ideological alignment with the very same corporatists that we're trying to fight? There's more stuff I want to get into with Robert, some of his background and stuff, but I really thought we could start off by just hearing from him and how lost we are right now with our leadership in the judiciary. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, guys. You rock. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.